Welcome to the next episode of You're Up Next. And today we have a very special guest. So without further ado, Osment Fazleyev, you're
What's
up
up?
next.
Somebody's birthday is coming up.
Here we go.
Ozzy's birthday is August 19th on Friday, so that's 2 days.
2 days? Yeah.
2 days from now. Right now it's Wednesday, and we have something special planned. Besides this episode, this is part of your birthday present.
I'm scared.
And how does it feel being on camera? Because you're usually the guy behind the camera.
Yeah. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, but it's not bad.
You're going to get
I
drilled with questions, not in the other type of drill.
Yeah. I hope.
That's so interesting that you feel that way.
Yeah,
After
a little
working behind the camera
bit
every day.
It's only when I'm with other people and I'm in front of the camera that I feel nervous. Other times, I'm totally fine. If it's like by myself filming a YouTube video or something, check out the YouTube channel. But yeah, then I'm fine. But if there's other people,
plug your YouTube real quick. Plug it.
It's just Oztography, OZTOG, photography, like photography. But yeah.
We introduce you by your full name. What do you go by? Because you don't go by Osment.
No. So everywhere I go, even when I don't tell people my nickname, people always find their way to Ozzy.
Okay.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
But Ozzy's been the nickname.
What do you mean? You're just like, yeah, my name's Osment. They're like Ozzy.
Yeah. Over time, they're just like, I'm having a hard time saying this name. They're like Ozzy.
That's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
It's been pretty. So what I think is the most interesting thing about you is actually where you're coming from.
Okay.
And like where you originated, and I think that like to share your story, it's very interesting because even like when I first met you, it was like you were finishing up college and you were in like high school, yeah. And it was the same kind of transitional period. We were both kind of in a transition, and we'll get into that part of the story. But like before, like I think we're both pretty interested about coming over to the U.S. Because for those of you who don't know, Ozzy's from Uzbekistan.
Let's hop in the time machine real quick.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Yeah, we'll go way back. So my mom and dad met. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, I was born in Uzbekistan, and I lived there until I was 12. So basically, most of my childhood that I can remember has been in Uzbekistan. And basically, my mom left me and my sister to come to the States for work when I was 4.
Okay. And,
she would come back and visit here and there. And at the time, I was just living with my aunt and uncle, which I'm very grateful for. They took care of me as if everything was fine. I never felt the burden of not having a parent there at all times. The absence wasn't really felt. So they really took care of me. So I lived with them, and then when I was 12 is when my mom grabbed me and my sister and brought us over to the States.
And now, did you guys leave in a hurry? Was there a rush? Did you guys go for a specific reason, or was it just kind of you went to the U.S. because you knew that you guys have more opportunities there?
Yeah, so my mom had been here in the States from when I was 4 until I was 12. And the whole time she was working towards bringing me and my sister to the States.
That's a good woman.
Yeah, dude. Woman. I mean, everything she had to go through and just do to get us here. It's not an easy thing to, come over to the States. There's this whole thing about anyone and everyone can come in illegally, blah blah blah. Right? That's no, it's hard. It's hard to get into the States. And yeah, she went through a lot. And when I was 12, she was able to bring us over, and it was a culture shock, to say the least.
Yeah, because you didn't know English.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
I had to pick it up so quick because everyone speaks English.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And if I didn't, then I couldn't really get around, find my way around.
Yeah. So at this point in time, you were what, 6th or 7th grade? Or younger?
7th grade.
Okay, so 7th grade, you come in. And what I'm curious is so like when photography and videography comes into the play, kind of like in your high school career and like so on and so forth.
That didn't come in to the picture until until
that's cute.
until I would say sophomore or junior year of my high school.
And do you remember what got you into it?
Yeah. So I had a few friends that did music, and we had these iPads in high school that, you know, we did homework on stuff, classwork. I just downloaded a bunch of apps, bunch of picture editing apps, Photoshop and all these things. And I used to make my friends music covers for their, you know, songs that they were releasing.
So
or, you know,
interesting.
SoundCloud and all these things.
Do
And
you have a SoundCloud?
yeah, I do actually. So I used to be really into music before getting into photo and video, and I ended up showing Dre today my SoundCloud and my trap mix.
He was a DJ.
Yeah, I had Faz.
It's spelled
Faaz.
Yep.
I thought that was so European. I was like, yeah, that sounds cool.
Definitely exotic.
Yeah. I was like, this is sick.
Man.
Yeah.
It
But
was
yeah,
a good trap remix. Like we can link it, right? Can we link it?
I guess in the description. If you want some hard trap, Yellow Claw.
Yellow Claw is great.
Yeah,
I like
that was at the time where I guess I was just like looking for something that I found enjoyment in, because all through high school and honestly middle school too, since I was so new to this new world, right, to the States, I had a hard time making friends. And
Really?
Yeah. So
Why don't you elaborate real quick? Like, I'm not gonna say 30 seconds.
Well,
but like, talk.
we
about
moved around a lot.
Okay.
So my stepfather was in the Navy, so we moved around a bunch for that. And then once he got out of the Navy, we moved around some more until, you know, parents found a job and settled down and stuff. So every high school, I went to 3 different high schools, and each high school that I went to, you know, I would find a friend group, but all of them had grown up together, you know, went to elementary school, middle school together. And so I didn't really have that connection with them. You know, they would have that connection with each other, but I was always kind of like the new kid, right? And yeah, I was just always looking for, you know, something to do to kind of enjoy my time outside of school, because yes, in school I would hang out with friends, right? And then outside of it, it was just like seeing my friends that lived in the same apartment complex as me, you know, hopping in cars and like going somewhere to do something. And then my mom asking me, "Oh, like, where are your friends going? Aren't you gonna go with them?" I'm like, nah, you know, just like playing it off. But when I like didn't get the invite because I wasn't that close with them,
Exactly. Yeah. It's
and
crazy.
yeah, so like that kind of forced me to kind of find something that I was passionate about outside of, you know, having friends and all that stuff. So that kind of led me to dive into music. I had a friend named Nate Papa. He was a DJ. Nate Papa, dude. He was a DJ. He actually did, you know, events and stuff. So at the time I was getting into a lot of EDM music. So I just you know, hung out with him. And
how did what came first, music or fitness, or did the music segue into fitness?
I think fitness came first.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I remember my first gym experience. My dad took me to Planet Fitness. Hit some leg press, dude.
Okay.
The motherland.
The motherland.
Motherland of all gyms.
Yep. $10 a month. I was like, damn, these people are hard in here.
Yeah.
Planet Fitness, dude.
Yeah,
that was my first exposure.
That actually explains a lot.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. No, yeah, that was my first experience at a gym, and you know, I'm grateful for it because that leg press at Planet Fitness set me up.
So that you got
Well,
big,
he's
you got big quads,
for those of you
man.
guys who don't have the camera angle underneath the table.
Yeah.
Ozzy
Coming
actually
soon.
does have big
Decent side
quads.
legs.
Yeah. So what I think is like a cool way to segue into like what you do is to talk about where you're at now And then I think your journey on how you got there is like very interesting for like people who don't know.
Yeah.
So like for people who don't know you, what is it that you do?
I guess you could say I hate the title, but call it a photographer. I don't hate photographer, videographer. Aspiring filmmaker. I'm not going to call myself a filmmaker until I've actually made a film.
You will.
Yes. But yeah, I create content and work with a YouTuber named Max Chewning. And
Hi, Max.
Hi, Max.
Shout out to you.
Hi, Max. Yeah, so he has a candy company called Sour Strips. By the way, this episode is actually sponsored by Sour Strips, so sourstrips.com.
Is it? Oh my god!
Buy some candy. First sponsor.
Our first sponsor.
Yeah,
I wish we had some bags.
Sour Strips team doesn't know about this, but this is sponsored. Yeah, so he has a candy company and a clothing company called Ever Forward. And I kind of create content for the brands, and whenever he needs help with his personal YouTube channel stuff, help with that. And then we just started our own podcast called Don't Be Sour.
Hey, how do you think this is possible?
Plug.
He helped us.
Plug to that. That's
Yeah.
a great podcast, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ozzy did a good job, like helping everything with that, and then obviously Max is a great interviewer. Honestly, I watch.
He's a good host.
I watch every episode from start to finish, and it's super good. It's well done.
Don't be sour.
I'll check your YouTube history. Make sure.
Most engaging
You will, you
podcast by far. So engaging, not a dull moment. I'm not just saying that. It's really captivating.
Thank you.
Yeah. Butter him up.
All right, so you go through this phase where you're transitioning, right? Like, no, what? Let me clarify. You were transitioning from basically like, you know, you have your fitness and all that stuff, music, whatever, and then you get into the video stuff. Now, what I think super interesting is kind of like how you ever even got the opportunity to like, you know, go through the Ever Forward process, like working with Max and all that kind of stuff. But I would even argue that before that, you were also at a crossroads with kind of like what you wanted to do with your life. Like, can you bring us back to that moment? Because
like post high school,
because I feel like a lot of guys, and even like when they leave college, or even they're leaving from one job to another, they are not really, like, a lot of people are afraid to make certain jumps in life. A lot of people are afraid to, you know, take a leap of faith, whatever, because they're afraid to fail. And I feel like you have such a unique perspective on this, because your life could have been totally different, and it could have been like different by like a couple months, you know, like if you would have had a different, you know, timeline by like 2 months, you know, if we shifted over, you'd have a totally different life. And I think that that's something to like really talk about.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
This is a crazy story.
So right out of high school, I had no plans of going to college. I did apply to a couple of colleges because everybody, you know, in my grade was, obviously, and I just also wanted to see if I could get into any colleges, because, you know, coming from Uzbekistan and being in the school system from, you know, 7th grade to high school, graduating, I just wanted to see if I could, you know, do it, if I could get into a college, and that was just kind of like an accomplishment. I did get into a couple, but I didn't have any plans of going to any of them. What I wanted to do was join the Navy, and my dad was in the Navy.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, and so that was kind of like a big influence on me, living within that community, and also having done junior ROTC in high school.
You did ROTC. You're that guy.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was in a Navy ROTC. Oh no, Air Force. Sorry, I almost joined the Navy. Did Air Force ROTC. So
real quick, sorry. Did you want to join the Air Force or the Navy, or be the Navy guy on the boat that operates the planes? Because we saw Top Gun together, and he explained it to me.
Yeah. So I did want to be a fighter pilot.
Okay.
But math grades weren't really there.
I mean, you have to be like,
insanely
smart, right?
Yeah.
Like insanely smart.
Yeah,
like
I mean, that's like hundreds of millions of dollars of equipment that they're trusting you with. You have to be able to do the math just like that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be a fighter pilot, and the goal was to get into the Naval Academy, and that kind of didn't end up happening. After that, I was like, okay, what's next? I can just enlist, which I did. Walked into the recruiter's office. I was like, all right, I want to be a fighter pilot and just get me on a plane. They're like, all right, let's take the ASVAB test, which is the test that you take to see what jobs you qualify for, depending on how you do in each section, you know, English, math, science, and all these things. So I didn't score too high on that test. I forget my score, but it wasn't good enough to be a fighter pilot, right? So I went in as an ABF, which is the yellow jackets on aircraft carriers, basically guiding the planes. And I was like, all right, I'll take that, and then just kind of work my way up to be a fighter pilot. And I just ended up waiting for a while to ship out and go to boot camp and all those things. At the time, I wasn't a U.S. citizen yet, so there was kind of like a delay with sending those people to boot camp. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to wait. And while I do, I'm going to work at this gym and, you know, pick up the camera. And at the time, I was already into the cameras, so I'm just going to pick up camera and do content and just wait. But it was like 2 years of waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. At that point.
When I met you, that was already like, you have already worked with several people.
Mhm.
You were already pretty established, but, you know, you were still kind of like in Radnor, where you're from.
Yeah.
And I was in Westchester. We weren't really like, it's not like you weren't being busy, but like, would you say that you were heading somewhere? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm interested to know, like, you were like, and I picked up the camera in the meantime, like, did you think that was going to turn into anything, or were you just like, I'm bored? And
No,
this is what I like to do.
Yeah, I definitely had passion for it. And as I worked with more and more people, I started to see my skills kind of grow. And at that point, I was like, okay, I can definitely make something out of this. And
When did you realize that you could like make something out of this? Because I feel like everyone has that moment where they're just like, this is kind of a hobby. This is kind of like getting slow.
Yeah.
Like, was there a certain income that you got? Was there like a certain project you did where you were just like, oh, you know, oh shit, like I can actually like do something with this?
Yeah. I think it was at a point where I filmed a concert that my friends put on.
Okay.
In downtown Philly. Filmed that, edited that.
You told me
they
that.
loved the video.
It's like the strip club one?
Oh no. What?
That's
When was the strip club one?
You were like, you were in like the depths of Philly. Like, is
Oh
that
no,
what
there
this
was
is?
no strip club.
All
I mean,
right.
I filmed a couple
I
of.
thought there was a strip club, everybody, for the record.
Oh no, there was no strip club. No,
that's another story for another time, I guess.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
different,
maybe.
wrong person.
Possibly.
No, there was a period of time where I did music videos,
Okay.
and that was like in the not so good areas of Philly.
Yes.
You know. But you gotta make it work. Those were kind of like the only jobs that I had coming up, because I'd done, you know, that music stuff for my friends, and then other people that did music, you know, that were connected with them saw that, and they were like, "Hey, can you do this for me?"
That was your network.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. So, and I was trying to get out of it because it just wasn't really my scene.
Yeah.
So I just had to kind of like do that and put up with that for a bit, so that I could, you know, get to where I want in the future down the line. But then ended up making, you know, fitness videos because, you know, Christian Guzman and Nabil make probably the best YouTube fitness content.
Yeah.
Shout out to Christian Guzman and Nabil.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Your last name, I know it. I can't pronounce. I'm not going to embarrass you on camera. Just shout out to you guys.
Yeah. They're both freaking awesome. And I think they've had a lot of impact on all of our lives.
Of course.
Honestly, we wouldn't be sitting here at this table if it wasn't for those videos.
Really?
Yeah, so watching those videos, and I remember the very first workout edit that Nabil did of Christian, Rob Lipset. Was Rob there?
Was it
I think Mariah was there.
one?
Yeah. At the Summer Park gym, and that was like the first ever workout edit that I'd ever seen. I think a lot of people had ever seen. So it was like mind blowing. I was like, wow, this is cool. I want to do this. So I picked up the camera, and then my buddy Zach, who's cousin of our friend Justin McEwen, you know, he was kind of in the same boat as me after high school, kind of wanting to be an entrepreneur and not going the college route. So him and I just started taking pictures and, you know, making fitness videos and stuff. And from there, you know, posting that work, it attracted more fitness people.
Yeah.
Which is where this guy comes in.
This is where I come in.
This is where this guy comes in.
This is where Ozzy basically...
Tell them.
We're not here to talk about us, but the way he found out about you is an absurd story. A story. It was like a 1 in a million.
Yeah. So yeah, Alan reached out to me for a video, and yeah, go ahead and tell the story of how you found my work.
So I mean, basically, what ended up happening was that we were at this gym. Okay, it was a very small gym in Westchester, and occasionally I would see this guy screaming in the corner. I would see our friend Justin screaming in the corner, doing sets.
Yeah.
One more. Okay.
Again.
That's it. So basically, I would see him, and some of the people in the gym were kind of like complaining that he was being loud. And then I always thought, like, you know, I thought the worst because I've only heard like bad things about him screaming in the gym. So I thought, like, okay, douchebag, whatever. Then I talked to him, and I had fucking amazing experience. Very nice guy. Yeah. Still friends with him today. And basically, like,
can I cut in? I remember. I'm sorry. I remember I was literally in the car, and I pulled up Justin's Instagram, and I go, "Yo, this is the guy that they're making fun of. Like, this is his Instagram." And I clicked on an edit, and Alan goes word for word verbatim. He was like, "This is like such a sick edit. Like, I'm gonna hit this guy up. I hope he answers."
Yeah. I was like, I hope he answers.
Sorry, take it away.
Too big for Go ahead.
That's what I was thinking, because I was like, this edit's so high quality. So then from there, I reached out to Ozzy. I DM'd you, and I believe that I just asked like when you're free if we wanted to go film, and we went to go film at Dana Lynn Bailey's gym, Warhouse,
and Rob Bailey.
Shout out to them. They made
legends.
Our childhood.
That was a great gym. We'd go there like every single year for New Year's, deadlift party, whatever. They'd even have like Halloween and shit too. And that was like just a good gym for us to get our initial first video. And like, I already knew that Ozzy had a lot of fucking talent, because like when he made that video, I like had that shit on repeat for like 45 minutes. If you've ever had a video, like a fitness video made on you, like it's just like this crazy feeling. And like, especially when it's like super good. And I had already known about like quality, because I had worked with different people at that time, as well as like, you know, I've seen what Nabil can do and all that kind of stuff. So like he sets the bar pretty high. So when I saw your stuff, like it was like so good and comparable to his stuff. And I know that you probably won't agree with that, because I know, I know, but I thought your content was amazing, you know.
Thank you.
And from there we can take it back and, you know, kind of like what happened from there.
Yeah. So
from your perspective.
Yeah. I get a DM from this guy. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Who does he think he is? No. Yeah. I get a DM from Alan, and, you know, we chat about what he wants, you know, what kind of content he wants. And we're like, all right, seems like a cool dude. Here's the price.
Yeah.
What was it, like $350?
It was $350 for
like a video and pictures?
An edit and some pictures.
Yeah.
And then I think after that we did like a YouTube video, and it might have been like 400.
Yeah. I actually still have those videos in my hard drives backed up. Yeah. I never delete them.
Alan was cutting potatoes. I remember when he showed me the video.
Yeah. It was an okay. Like in terms of like the video concept, it was okay. The video job, superb.
Thank you. Yeah. We drove. How long was the drive? Like an hour and a half?
It was like an hour.
An hour? Yeah, an hour to the gym. And we, you know, chatted and found out that we were kind of like at the same point. Yeah. Exactly. We connected.
Yeah. Like I think I can like speak on this too, is like, you know, it's like this surreal feeling when you get in the car with someone, and like, or even like you're across the table with them, you hang out with them, right? Mm-hmm. And it's basically like someone who's thinking everything that you're thinking, and like they want to do big things, their mindset's already there, and like you don't feel like you're speaking like you don't feel like you're being weird. Like it just sounds normal in the car. Because I remember that car ride even to this day, because at that time, like I was like very alone. And like I had my family and stuff like that and like super close friends, but I didn't really have anyone that related to me in the way of like wanting to be around Alphalete, wanting to build up my fitness career, wanting to like do something like on social media and kind of build that up. Yeah. And like you were one of the first people that like actually like understood everything that I was saying, because you had the same role models, you know? So that car ride, the whole time, we never stopped talking. We basically just talking about our dreams, honestly. And everything just flowed, and it was like we were in that flow state, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I actually saw our souls just kind of like go up in the
like
air,
levitate,
and dance around.
Yeah,
together.
When you meet someone that's on the same page as you, and this is why you have to put yourself out there, because if you don't put yourself out there, you never get in the position to be around people who are like-minded. And that's like the hardest part, because like everyone wants to like hide their shit and not talk about how they feel because they don't want to be judged. But like you're a couple months away from like finding good, true friends that actually are on the same page as you, you know?
It's so important to, you know, it's, I guess, oversaid in a way, but it's so important to surround yourself with like-minded people that want to do big things.
If you're around a bunch of people that just like sit there and complain about the situation they're in and do nothing to get out of it, like you're gonna be.
It's contagious.
Yep, and just how it's contagious. Exactly what you were saying. Be around like-minded people like you guys who wanted to elevate and become better.
Yeah, and like I said, in high school, I didn't really have people that I kind of could identify with and relate to. Like you said, I kind of like was alone in that sense. And at that time, I remember I wanted to get into fitness, right? Like, take the whole coaching and that route.
Men's physique it?
Exactly, yeah. And I remember, was it junior year of my high school, I think, junior or senior year, I posted a picture, shirtless picture, right? We've all done it.
We've all been there.
Still do it.
There you go. I posted a picture, right? And it was like right after watching summer shredding video. It was like the finale or something, where Christian gets in the i8 and just drives off. Classic. We all know that one.
Yeah.
You know? So
the Ferrari talk videos are amazing. Yeah.
Legendary. So
got me through high school.
There you go. All of us did. And yeah, so I watched that. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this fitness thing, and I post a picture shirtless. And I go to school the next day.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. And I had, dude, I'm in my psychology class. There was this girl. She was heavier set. Okay. And she made fun of me for it.
Oh my.
She was like, oh, physique, right? Like, because nobody really used that word.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna throw a textbook at her. Fucking just kidding. I'll never throw a textbook at anyone.
In front of the whole class, she like brought up the picture and just like made fun of me, basically.
That's scarring.
And
I'm not just saying, that's scarring.
Yeah, and like it was the whole class just like staring at me, and I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Right? Like I felt more so embarrassed. But now I look back, I'm like, that moment really taught me, like, be careful who you listen to, right?
Of course.
Like, where is this coming from? Who's this coming from? Whatever thing that's, you know, getting to you.
Yeah.
Where is this coming from? And, you know, no offense to heavier people, but, you know, to be laughed at by that person, I should have just shrugged it off.
Exactly.
Yep.
But
you don't know that yet.
Exactly.
Like you like when you're younger, you don't understand.
I didn't have
like,
the maturity to.
You don't know whose words have like more weight.
Yeah.
They're just words that can be offensive to you, and it's just like, you know, like when people make decisions based off of like people who don't really know the full context, you know, like a lot of people around us, you know, I think I can speak for all of us and say that like most people in our lives did not have a good idea of like what the online space was about.
Absolutely.
So therefore, they cannot give you an educated answer on what it's going to be like. just because their previous experiences don't really line up with that. It's not like you have someone who's been in the industry online space for like 10 years giving you advice. It's someone who is just telling you what they know based off of their own previous experiences. And you can't really blame them for that, but that's like, you have to like understand that when you're hearing shit from people, or else it just really fucks with your head.
There's nothing worse too than like being so excited. I can speak for all of us. I know he just said that. I know Alan and I know myself. Like, there's nothing worse than being like so excited about something and just being like so passionate about it, and then having like a big group of people just rip you down when you don't have the EQ or like, was that emotional intelligence to comprehend that like they're tearing you down because they just simply are unhappy with themselves and they're not comprehending the concept of self-betterment and like what you're trying to do. Yeah. So I'm sorry you had to go through that, but I know made you into the man you are right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think if that moment hadn't taken place, I probably would have been like a fitness guy.
That's so interesting because
which is good,
that's so interesting.
You're doing pretty good now, so whatever.
That's so interesting that one moment was like such a pivot point.
It was, yeah. And I remember like not to just like kind of feel bad for myself, but I just felt like so alone in that moment because the teacher was just like standing there listening to this, right? And like people laughing, right? So that like in that moment I was like, wow, fuck this. And then I just kind of,
and then you retreated.
And I never, was like, all right, I'm never going to pick up a dumbbell or anything again. It wasn't to that point, but the hopes and dreams and, ambitions of like being this next Christian Guzman, right, kind of like went out the window at that point just because I don't know, I just didn't have kind of like the strength to kind of block that out and also stand up for myself, which is something that I think I've struggled with all through my life until a few months ago. I've never been really able to stand up for myself, and I feel like that's something that you definitely have to do in life too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's literally, I'm very passionate about this. Standing up for yourself is literally a skill, and it's a skill that needs to be learned over time, and it's not something that comes super naturally to most people. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. It's like you have to get used to standing up for yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely needed because it's dangerous. Like having your dream shut down like that, it's dangerous because at the end of your life, you don't want to sit there and be like, I could have been this guy. I could have done this. I could have done that. But just knowing that you didn't reach your full potential, right? That's scary.
Yeah, 100%.
That's terrifying. So,
and I know we originally got into this because like the car ride story. So like basically fast track a couple years, you're making fitness content. Yeah, and then we have the Everforward pop-up shop coming up. Mm-hmm. So can you basically explain the events leading up to that pop-up shop, how you got a chance to work to do content around Everforward, and then how you got introduced to Max in the first place? I think that's a super interesting story about you.
Yeah. So the Everforward pop-up shop was just an idea that Max mentioned in his YouTube video. And so I reached out to him and said, you guys should absolutely do it, because it was going to be in New York and we lived in Philly. So it was like a chance to meet all these guys that we look up to. I just reached out to him, said, you guys should definitely do it. And a couple days later, they announced that they're doing it. I was like, let me know if you guys need any help with photos, videos, or, setting up the shop or anything. And he checked out my work from off that message, and I guess he liked it. He wanted to set up a couple of test shoots with models in Philly so he can see my work for Everforward, what I could do for him. And then did some of that work, went to the pop-up shop. You weren't there, but It was.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't invited to Warhouse, wasn't invited to the pop-up shop. I'm very.
What's going on here?
It was interesting. I was watching it all happen too. It's
Listen,
okay, I forgive
Alan
you.
had your number. I didn't. So
No. I'm not looking at you.
So we all hopped on a mega bus from 30th Street Station and headed to New York, and then stood in line and standing in line.
Hours.
Yeah,
4 hours,
dude. There was a long line,
Yeah.
and for hours while we were waiting, I was editing ever forward pictures, and I just sent them to Max, and then our turn to meet them came. And I was like, "Hey Max, I'm Oz, the kid who did the pictures for you." He's like, "What's up, dude?" We met for the first time in person there, and he was like, "What are you doing next weekend? I'd love to bring you out to Houston and see how well we work together." I was like, "I'm free, brother."
Wait, what was like? What did
I'll
it feel
give you
like?
the deed to my house.
Yeah.
Well, no. What did it feel like when he asked you to do that? Hey, I'll fly to Houston. Like, what did that feel like?
I kind of expected it almost.
That's my boy. That's my fucking boy. I'll let you boy. No, I'm just kidding.
I kind of expected it because, I don't think he would have kind of tested me out for a few shoots and told me that if I did do good work, that this could snowball into something more.
Yeah.
So I kind of went into it expecting that, but it was nice to kind of hear that and have that confirmation, like this isn't this isn't heading nowhere type of thing. And at that time, it was I think a week after I told the Navy no and decided to pursue this photography content full time. And
was that the time when you were like, all right, like this can be something?
Yeah, I think I talked about this on episode 1, but I was basically like, or I talked about it with you earlier today, or maybe yesterday, and I was basically like, it's like almost like your life will like test you in some ways, and then it'll offer you like something. Yeah, and it's
on
almost
episode
like
1.
Yeah, on episode 1 I did talk about this because it's happened to me several times, and I feel like that a lot of people go through that same thing where it's like you have like this option, you don't want to take it, and it's almost like, okay, life is kind of testing me, or whatever you believe in is testing you to see if you really want the other thing. Yeah, and it's offering you something else. Yeah, and you chose to go the route that you obviously felt more passionate about. Yeah, and like your life kind of just started to snowball from there. Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you did free work for Max before you ever received any monetary, compensation, right? Yeah. And that was what I find interesting about your story, because I know so many people who would never do something for free. And I think that it's very unique that like you were okay with it. And I wouldn't even, I think I can speak for you and say like, you were just happy to do the work and like get the experience and whatever. So
all
like,
passion.
Can you speak on that? Because I feel like most people shy away from that. But then I'm also like, I totally understand charging what you're worth, right? Yeah. At that point, you weren't really solidified too much yet. Exactly. At least in like the whole athlete space, all that kind of stuff.
Or just the fitness scene in general. But yeah, I think there are multiple reasons that people don't do free work. Whether it be it's a way they make their living and they need to pay the bills, or they have too big of an ego to kind of do some free work in order to grow and get to a point. But yeah, I mean that was just an exciting opportunity for me, because I've been watching these guys on YouTube for a while, so I just thought they've been giving me so much entertainment and motivation and guidance that I was fine with just giving back.
To give back,
Exactly, yeah. And that was the sole reason why I reached out, was because I was like, hey, let me know if you guys need any help, because I want to give back for all the help that you guys have given me. Yeah.
Because class act, baby.
Yeah, because I really do believe that those videos had, I would say, not to disrespect my parents, but a lot more influence on me than my parents growing up all through my high school years.
Totally agree.
Definitely.
Going off, my interests that I grew into and all those things. So, I was just like, let me give back to these guys because they've done so much for me.
Yeah. I always tell Dre, it's like, and we both agree on this, is like, when we meet people like that, people that we've looked up to for so long, me and Dre usually don't say too much because it's like, there's not really like something that you can say that can express the type of impact that these people have left.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Absolutely.
like you don't want to look weird by just like fucking throwing a bunch of like word vomit out, whatever. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like me and Dre, like when we meet people like this, it's just like we respect them so much. And it's like, there's nothing we can say to just like portray what kind of impact that they've made.
Alan, Ozzy, I think you know this. Remember, I always talked about I'm never going to introduce myself to Christian because nothing I could say, like you said, would impact or would express the impact that he has had on me. So I'm just not going to waste his time. And it's funny because it's about Ozzy, threw me into a situation when he took me to film Christian's show. And I was just there for the ride. I was just like the emotional support animal. And like, I didn't help film anything. He like threw me into the situation, him and Emil, to like, to like meet Christian. And it was so like, I couldn't even say anything to him. I was like, you look great, man. I was like, you look great, man. I'm like, I can't express it, what you've done for everybody. I was like, you're shredded.
It's definitely scary because like they hear that from so many people, right? And like you always say, I lived
here for like 9 months and didn't say a word again.
Yeah, they definitely appreciate every single interaction, in person that tells them the impact that they've had on their lives. But like Dre always says, it's always sweet to get to a certain point in your life where you've built something off of what they've provided to you, and then be like, hey man, this is because of your influence. And then it's like something that they can look at and appreciate. Not that they don't appreciate everyone telling them, that they did something for them, but I definitely.
Christian's the nicest guy ever.
He is.
You meet so many people that just like are not nice because they're so busy. They got the following. They're making money. They're not focused on you. Nicest guy in the world.
Yeah, it's easy to let that status get to your head and just kind of change you in a way. But Christian stayed solid.
Heidi shook my hand. That nicest woman alive.
That
most
whole
down
friend
to earth,
group.
most down to earth individuals ever. I can't even, words don't describe it. They're amazing.
There.
So at this point, you start working for Max, right?
So I actually came out to Houston a few times, and the first weekend, we did some work, went back home. I was like, this is it. Nothing's going to come out of this. It's over. I
said to Ozzy, I said, listen, man, if you get a job opportunity, like, can I be your roommate?
This was in New York.
This is where it gets juicy.
This was in New York after the pop-up. And I go out to Houston for the weekend, and I'm like, all right, this is it. This is the end. And a couple days later, Max is like, what do you do next week? I'm like, I'm free, brother. And
there's the deed to my second house.
There you go.
My house.
And he flies me out again the second time. The second time I got sick as a dog. I don't know what hit me, but I was sick and I was just like working. It was brutal. And towards the end of that trip, he kept asking me like a bunch of questions about my personal life. Like, do you have a girlfriend? Do you have a car? Like, do you prefer working with multiple people or just like one person? And at that point, I was like, I think he's just trying to like get some information and then, see if I'm a good fit to be moved out here. And sure enough, at the end, he was like, hey man, if you're, it was like right before I hopped in the Uber to go to the airport while I was leaving Houston.
Max is so mysterious.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, if you're up for it, I'd love to, have you move to Houston and work with me. And I was like, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, I go home and I tell my parents, I'm like, hey guys, I got a job offer in
How
Houston.
old are you?
At the time I was 19.
19
Yeah.
Isn't that
years
crazy?
old.
Like
Yeah.
19, getting an opportunity to move across the states.
Yeah.
Like,
And
Just a boy from
like,
Uzbekistan.
it's scary, but it's also like, as parents, like I could not like imagine.
Yeah,
like,
no, dude,
my
like
19-year-old kid coming up to me and telling me that he's gonna go like work in Houston when
For
you're
some
PA.
YouTube guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, and I got home and told him, I was like, hey guys, I got an offer to move to Houston to work with this guy full time. And they were like, who's this guy? What's his name?
Yeah,
I give them his YouTube channel and all that. They check him out, and my dad was like, you sure something you want to do? I was like, yeah, let's do it. It's like at the time we were going to do like a 6-month trial period where, if we both liked working with each other, then we were going to, talk about it further. But yeah, I told my parents that was kind of like my foot in the door to kind of, persuade them to being okay with the idea. I mean, regardless, I was going to go, but, I'd love to have their support. So I was like, it's a 6-month thing, just to see, if we work well together, then we'll just, talk about more after that. And yeah, ever since, my parents were just seeing it as like a 6-month thing, but deep down I knew, I was like,
yeah.
I'm going to be here for a few years, guys.
I ain't coming back, bitch.
Nope.
You're like, I'm not letting this slip through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the people that I wanted to be surrounded by. Like I said, it's very important to be around people that just force you to grow. And yeah, it was definitely a place and people I wanted to be around. Who wouldn't want to have Athlete Gym as their home gym? So I was like, let's do it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
and
then,
then my parents were fine.
What did
with
you
it.
do, Alan?
well, then me and Ozzy came down together.
He gets a call
Ozzy-
from me.
I get a call from Ozzy at around like 11:30 at night, and Ozzy is a night owl.
It's
I
like
lived with-
the
I-
creatives work late.
Yeah, the creatives do work late. They like that late night life.
Love it.
So,
So fun.
basically, like Ozzy calls me at 11:30 at night, and at that point, I had just had my first Black Friday launch for fitness coaching, and so I had like $3,000 in my bank account, and I was like, "Listen, man, I am making it. All right." It was the first time I ever had like over $1,000 in my bank account. Okay, and
I think I had that much too.
yeah, and like so basically he calls me at 11:30 and then he's like, "Listen, I'm going to move to Houston. Like, do you want to be my roommate?" And I was like, I already knew my answer, but I took 24 hours to think about it. And fortunately, like I was able to just be like, "Dude, I'm fucking going." Like, and I was very nervous, obviously, about like going with you and all that stuff because like I was going to be doing this on my own.
I remember you
And-
told me when you were going with me. I was like,
This was like 2 months after we met.
yeah.
This
and he
is
was
2
like,
months after that edit that we talked about
Yeah.
earlier in the video.
we were sitting in that
In
gym,
this
and he was
podcast.
like, I think I'm gonna go with like that Alan smile, and I was like, I literally was just like, I remember thoroughly. I had no emotion towards it because I was like, I don't quite believe him.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I
Yeah.
don't quite believe him. I was
You ain't gonna
like,
do it?
No, my dad, like I went to him and he was
Julian.
I went to
Shout
I went
out
to-
Julian. This
I went-
is sponsored by Julian.
Shout out Julian, legend.
I wish it was sponsored by Julian. All right, so like I basically went to my dad and he like didn't like my parents. I feel like, and I've said that I was going to do a lot of things as a kid and I went through different phases and all that stuff. So when I came to them with this outrageous idea of me leaving the comfort of my parents' home and going out full on, like on my own, having my own business, everything, I think that like my dad was like bullshit. but like he didn't say anything negative. Like he did not say anything to deter me from making this decision. I think he was just like, is this motherfucker going to actually do this and like move across? So we do that, right?
Yeah.
We come to Houston.
When you moved there, I was like, I will say I was not worried. I was like, if anyone's going to figure it out, it's him. I was like, I don't know Ozzy. I was like, but Alan's going to figure it out. Alan's the figure it out guy.
Oh, he figured it out.
He figured it out. Look.
He has a golden doodle now.
Look.
The golden doodle. All right, the golden doodle.
The smartest dog on earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is... Guys, we're getting into dangerous water here.
Yeah, this is... So there's a low-key competition between Ozzy's dog and my dog, but we're going to get into that in another episode.
Yeah.
Okay?
Jordan might have said something this morning in favor of Theo.
Yeah, she may have said something. So, you get to Houston, all right? And so we're not going to make this about our dogs. Moving on from the dogs. We all know who ripped up my fucking bed.
Hey, yo! No. We don't know. That's the thing. We don't know.
So long story short, like
shit.
Theo, Ozzy's dog, basically locked my dog in my room after he went in there and tore up the middle of my bed. And that's actually what happened.
So my dog is smarter than if
your dog is smarter, but my dog is a better person.
My dog was like, "Get in here, dog! Lock the door."
Lock the door.
Here's what actually probably happened. Theo didn't like lock Howie in the room. I think Theo tore the cushions up, which is not a big deal for all those of you who are wondering. It's not a big deal, and
big deal.
Howie, being himself, locked himself in the room and incriminated himself.
Howie's like,
and took the blame.
Shit.
All right.
Theo.
Yes.
All right.
My dog is still very
He's
intelligent.
a good dog.
Okay. So
Jordan's making
at this
faces.
point, you've been working under Max and in this space for like 3 years, right? Like
right
leading
now?
up to now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little over 2.5 years. Yeah.
And over that period of time, you've worked under like multiple businesses too. Like there's Everforward, which is a clothing apparel that Max owns, and then there's Sour Strips.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think that he might have some other stuff that he does that maybe you help out with, like car content, Instagram content, YouTube content, all that kind of stuff. I would consider like just like a little bit separate.
Personal, yeah.
Yeah, his personal brand. And then you've also worked with other brands too. You've done stuff for Alfleet, Christian. You've done stuff for David, had a Beast. You've done some stuff for him, I believe.
You've done stuff with the Naka.
Or maybe he offered you and you never went to do it.
Yeah, we were talking about doing a intro.
Okay, that's
for his
right. I
YouTube.
remember, but you never made it out there.
No.
Okay. Gotcha.
Sorry, did you ever work with the Naka?
No.
No.
Ghost, yes, though.
Ghost.
Ghost.
You did some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm curious is like, right now, from what I understand is that Max definitely like is the brains like behind the marketing and all that kind of stuff. Like he's a very creative guy, like super creative dude. He comes up with like a lot of the ideas and stuff. But, I've always kind of seen you as the person like putting things together, getting like, the shots and all that kind of stuff. Like, what is that like? Because you're basically like, you have like a marketing position to some extent, right? And like, what is that like? Because these businesses, they do very well, especially Sour Strips. Like, they're in Targets, Walmarts, they're in HEBs and all that kind of stuff. Like, what is that like working for like a multi-million-dollar brand in terms of like the content and in terms of like marketing for them?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we're just running around like apes in there trying to figure everything out because just like any business, none of us know what we're really doing. We're just figuring that out as we go. And as far as marketing, a lot of the time, he does come up with the ideas and, we'll bring ideas to him.
Yeah.
And he'll kind of like
so it's
refine.
Like a back and forth.
Exactly.
And stuff like
Yeah.
that.
It's definitely a collaboration.
It's definitely awesome.
Yeah. And he kind of like refines the ideas to fit his vision and also just to, make the idea better. And then we're the executioners.
Okay.
You know?
And like that kind of leads me to my next thing because, you guys all do like launches and stuff, or at least you used to
Yeah.
do more. And especially with clothing and like a product launch like sour candy, like, can you explain the 2 weeks leading up to a launch? And like,
Good question.
because I've seen you like stress.
Yeah.
You and Corey, I've seen you guys stress over this. So I think that'd be super interesting because like most people just see pictures.
Yeah.
Like they never see like the hours of editing that goes into behind the pictures, and they don't see like you guys having to coordinate everything. And like, can you kind of speak on that? Because I don't think anyone's ever really talked about that.
When
shit.
you like see like when you think Corey left the country, it's launch week. It's launch week.
So Corey is our buddy that works alongside me for Max and does Sour Strips content. He's been doing 100% of the Sour Strips content right now, and whenever there's something big, I'll come and help out. But that's Corey, and
Shout out Corey.
when it comes, shout out Corey, and yeah. So launch week is the 2 weeks leading up to a launch. At least at the beginning, when I first took on Sour Strips, that was never really gonna be my job position when I moved out here. It was gonna be ever forward. But then Sour Strips was doing so well that we just kind of put all our focus on the team to Sour Strips.
Yeah.
And I just kind of had to figure out how to do product photography, which I'd never done before. I'd never worked with, strobe lights and with any lights for that matter. And I felt bad because there would be times where I would, you were at the office with me one of the days where I was just like, watching tutorials and trying to figure things out, and Max was like, "Hey, what'd you do today? Like, did you make anything?" I was like, "No, just watching tutorials, trying to figure things out." I felt bad because this man's paying me to produce content, but I was like new to it and trying to figure things out still. But over time, I've definitely gotten a lot better at figuring out how to shoot photos depending on the ideas. And then for launch weeks, it was like we had to kind of figure out exactly what types of content we needed for what social media. And
so first you guys figure out like what forms, like what channels you guys are going to be using and how you're going to be kind of like marketing it.
Yeah. And from the beginning, it's always like, okay, obviously we need feed photos, and then, okay, we need individual story photos, and then, we need videos promoting this and that. So you kind of start to get an idea of exactly how many pieces of content for what you need per launch. And I think we're at a point now where we know, how many feed photos we need, how many story photos we need. Everything is just, planned ahead of time. So now it's a lot more easier to kind of execute a launch. But before it was just like, okay, we need this. Oh shoot, we have this thing to take care of, so we need more content for this. Now we have kind of like a set plan for every launch.
You guys have like refined over time.
Exactly,
basically.
yeah. And over time, as it's refined, we still keep adding more things to it. So that's where it kind of gets more stressful. So yeah, I mean, it's been the same thing with podcasts. I thought it was just going to be, edit the podcast,
Easy.
Post it, right? Thumbnail, post it. And then we were like, okay, let's make a clips channel. Okay, we need reels. All right, we need TikToks with subtitles. All these things. And it just keeps adding up. So it's definitely a lot more time consuming than we thought.
Do you feel like all that extra stuff is necessary at that point to really like grow the page? Because I feel like, you better than anyone can tell based off of views, based off of how the content's received, based off of like how the podcast and other videos actually do based on how you promote it. Like that makes or breaks the video, right? Or would you disagree?
Don't Be Sour just hit 1 million views, right?
Yeah, overall and across all videos, yeah.
That's a big milestone. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Congrats, Max.
Congrats, Max.
Max, congratulations. Seriously. We appreciate
This
you.
guy.
Thank you for letting me sit in your office.
There you go. Yeah, so What was I gonna say?
We were talking about basically like the content and like what goes into like the launches. And
Okay, yeah. If I think it's really necessary to do
The clips,
everything that we do. Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's no like hard evidence. We don't have hard numbers to show for it, but I think it feels like, you know, the more that obviously you're in front of people's faces, you know, they're gonna be
Like-
more aware of it, and it's just gonna
Plus,
do
it's
better.
like more ways to be seen. You know,
Exactly,
instead of having one video, you have one video, and then you have like 10 other videos that all lead to that one video.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like you're all over the place in different forms.
Exactly. And with the podcast, I thought it was just gonna be a waste of time, honestly, because they weren't getting nearly as many views as the main, you know, episodes. Depending on the guests, you know, we get anywhere from 60 to 100 plus K views on the main page, and then the clips were doing like a couple hundred views. I was like, okay, I'm putting in all this work. Is this doing anything? And then just a couple days ago, actually, I saw a comment that was on the clips channel. It said, oh no, that was on the main episode. It said, I saw the clip for this episode and came over to watch the full episode. I was like,
Yo, let's go.
okay,
Yeah.
thank goodness somebody's, you know, it's bringing people over. So yeah, that was a nice, what do you call it? It just kind of redeemed
full
what I was.
moment. Like
Yeah,
full
it's just
circle
kind of
moment.
like redeemed, you know, doing all these extra clips for
justified.
the podcast. So,
Is
yeah,
that the
exactly.
right word?
Yeah,
You justify the word.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is not wasteful.
Yeah. I've always found that interesting because you guys do a shit ton of promoting.
Yeah.
And I feel like the culture here is very launch based instead of like an evergreen, like buy products throughout the year. You know, normally like a lot of like online stores, I feel like, you know, that we buy from now, like you might just buy whenever you feel like it. Like Lulu, like you buy whenever you feel like it, and they most likely have stuff in stock. But a lot of the brands down here are like really hype based, and it's like sometimes you have to fucking like wait for the launch to drop, buy something, and like hope you are in line and stuff like that. And as they grow, they have more inventory. But like in the beginning days with Outflay, like shit would sell out so fast. Beginning days with like sour strips, you guys would always sell out fast too. And it's like that shit goes even ever forward. Like the bags, I miss the bags, like the fucking like
Duffel
travel
bags.
bags, duffel bags.
I remember that.
And like I only like missed it by like 30 minutes.
They're
or
coming
whatever.
back.
Yeah,
Different colors too.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm definitely not going to miss my opportunity.
Is that
this
airline?
time. Yeah.
Are those? Do you guys like sell those bomber jackets anymore now?
I think probably like closer to winter time or so.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say I got Hanman's old one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're nice.
That's Elliot. That's a limited edition.
There you go.
It's Elliot.
Yeah. What was I gonna? Dude, I think I have like a memory loss problem
I
going
mean,
on.
it's hard to speak.
It's hard,
on, it's,
dude.
it's hard to speak on the pod because like there's
not
a
only
lot
that,
going
just
on.
like everyday life. I feel like I just forget stuff.
Yeah,
As you hang out with
I don't
me,
know
and I
why.
literally like I'll be talking to you mid sentence and then stop talking.
He
Like,
did. He did do that earlier.
Like, you're
It's a
not
normal-
even. You're not bad. Trust
It's
me.
a- no, yeah.
occurrence. But like just to kind of segue into something else, if you don't
Launch-based
remember
stuff, that's what we're saying.
launch-based stuff.
Yeah.
So like, there's a lot of hustlers down here.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
You, did you have a thought that you want to finish?
Yeah. So it was definitely, you know, all launch based things across all companies down here, but I think now it's shifting.
Really.
Yeah, shifting over to having
More
having product
inventory.
on hand at all times, so that people can, you know, come get the product.
Why do you think
And-
that is? Do you have an idea? Or like,
If
I
they don't
think-
have product to sell, that's a bad problem.
Yeah, and also with the, you know, the hype launch culture, it's just it dies out over time,
Yeah.
right? Because like you have the 2 weeks to, you know, promote everything, and then the launch happens, and then they say Max and Christian, all of them say the first like 10 to 20 minutes is like what decides how good that launch does.
Yeah.
Right.
I've heard Christian talk about that.
Yeah. So it just kind of like happens, and then I think over time, launch after launch, people just kind of get desensitized to it, and you just if you want to grow the business, to where it's like these big companies like Nike, you know, Coca-Cola. You got to have product in hand at all times.
Yeah.
And something that's been the biggest focus for Sour Strips now is not launches. Like you said, we used to have a lot of launches for flavors, not anymore. Now it's retail.
Got it.
Because that's
awesome.
that like long term, that's gonna be, you know, where the wins are gonna be happening.
Hey, where can the viewers buy Sour Strips and some popular chains?
Walmart, Target, H-E-B if you live in Texas. Is it only a Texas thing?
It's Texas,
yeah. Okay, yeah. H-E-Bs and some gas stations.
Yeah.
If you go on the website, sourstrips.com, there's a store locator.
Just remember, if you buy Sour Strips, you are indirectly supporting Ozzy.
And you are supporting this podcast because today's episode's sponsored by sourstrips.com.
Maybe we can make that happen soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I didn't talk to the people over there, but you know,
With a lot of elbow
we're
grease
making it happen.
one day.
Yeah, with a lot of elbow grease. Yeah.
We will. Just gotta.
But I'm curious, like you work with like a shit ton of like amazing people. Like I remember the first year living here with you, like Matt Como, for example. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna go get dinner with Matt Como, and he's gonna pick me up in like an Audi, and I'm like,
Christian's
fuck.
R8.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, this is awesome. And for those of you guys who don't know, Matt Como is an amazing. Like he has a lot of talent with video. I don't want to say video.
Shout out Matt Como.
Because like he's definitely like a director at this point. You'd say, right?
Yeah,
and he does like super big projects. Like I love his stuff, but I found a lot of his stuff through like fitness content and whatnot. But
yeah,
what would you say is like, I'm curious because you have this very unique position where you are surrounded by individuals who have achieved things at the highest level. Like, and they continue to just like blow that shit through the water year after year. Like, what do you notice about these people that like makes them succeed?
It differentiates them, right?
Yeah. They don't try to be something like they're not.
They just are.
They're just you can tell when you meet people, you know, if they're putting on a face and trying to be something they're not.
Yeah.
Versus people that are genuine and themselves and are very self-aware. And I think
easily.
Yeah, I think you experience a lot of that at Alphaland too, because there's a ton of people trying to, you know, become an influencer and build a following. And in that space, you definitely see a lot of people that, you know, are trying to act a certain way, try to be somebody when they're not that. And you can tell the people that are just genuine, real. And I think that's across the board. That's been the thing that I've noticed about everyone.
It's so funny because like we were talking earlier about Christian and Heidi and just how like amazing they are and how nice they are and how they make you feel that. Thank you. How they make you feel like so welcome. And it's crazy because they don't do that. Am I right?
Yeah.
Like they don't do what you just said at all. But for some reason, those people feel like they need to adopt that persona. And would you say it kind of shoots them in the foot, or it's like?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on, you know, who you're talking to, because some people just don't have that, I guess, self-awareness for themselves to see other people's bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're just like focused on what they want to build rather than trying to, you know, I guess a clout chaser or, you know, try to be somebody that they're not.
Like they're trying to focus on what they're trying to build, but not trying to provide, provide value along the journey. Is that a good way to put it?
So they're, you know, building these businesses that they're very passionate about, helping so many people. And the byproduct of that is the following that they have, right?
Exactly.
They're not like chasing the following, and then acting like, oh, you know, start a business. You're the only person in the business. Call yourself a CEO on Instagram, right?
Jeez,
makes no sense.
Yeah,
that's not. Like, what does that stand for? Chief Executive Officer, and doesn't that mean? Alan told me this a while ago. It means you have employees, right?
I mean, most people who use that term, like, yes, it's a big business with several employees, different branches of the business. Like that's a top level position, you know? And it's like, there's a lot of people in our space who are like CEO, and it's like just them. I hate that word for like people that are like a lot smaller, but to each their own. I'm not gonna hate on that. Whatever you want to call yourself is fine. Like if that's what you resonate with, then so be it.
Yeah.
But like what I think is interesting about how you do work for Max and stuff is that, and you alluded to this when you first didn't know what to do with product shots. And I think this is super interesting to kind of like wrap this up because we've been talking for a while now. Is like, I've worked with several videographers before, and I have rarely seen any videographer continuously get better. And I think that speaks to like what people should be doing if they're trying to up their game to be put in a position where they can like work for a company one day, like not like sour strips, but just like be able to produce content like you. Because I feel like a lot of people that would get a lot of value out of this episode are people that maybe are aspiring to come up in a marketing position, videography, photography, or just trying to work for someone that they maybe start out kind of like looking up to and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, where do you feel like you got the desire to always improve? And like, do you always kind of just pick yourself apart and that's how you get to it? Because I've always seen your stuff get better over time.
Thank you. 4 words. You know what I'm about to say?
Dude, I just hope it's not more than 4 words.
Are you about to say you ain't shit? Or no?
Proud, but never satisfied.
Oh,
there we go.
Okay.
Who said that?
No, I definitely think that if you want to go far in anything that you're doing, you need to stay a student. Right, like you need to always be learning.
We said on the last podcast, it's like if the day you stop learning is the day you stop growing.
Exactly. Yeah. You always have to be learning, and you can't let your ego kind of get in the way of that. And once you get to a certain point, you can't just be like, "Yeah, I'm the shit." Like you have to humble yourself and just keep striving to reach the level of people that are way ahead of you.
Okay.
Because if you're like, okay, I'm trying to, if I were to be like, okay, I'm trying to get to the point that Matt Como's at, right? And when I reach that point, I'm like, okay, cool. Reached it. I'm the shit. I'm good. Obviously, I'm not going to go any further, and anyone else who's in the same space as me, working, harder and keeps improving, they're going to surpass me.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be a sad loser.
Such an interesting way to look at it.
At least that's just my perspective. I'll always be learning and just, train your eye. If you're doing photos and videos, that's the biggest thing. Being able to see good content.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I suck at everything Final Cut Pro. Ozzy doesn't even use Final Cut Pro, and it's just like
sometimes I try to help, but
I'll ask him for help, and he's just like, he's like, saturation's too high, the white balance is off, your exposure's too low, your exposure's too high.
He knows the terminology. He's got it down.
He's like, this LUT is ugly. He's like, I look at it when you post. I'm like, oh, dude, I don't know. He's like, color grade. His eye for just raw clips, the way he looks at it. It's not me telling him, like the way he looks at it's like different.
Yeah, no,
it's
I
different.
agree.
That helps so much, honestly. Like building the eye to. Just like coaching someone, right? Prepping them for a competition or something. I can look at a person and be like, damn, they look shredded, show ready. You can be like, nah, they're 5 weeks out.
Yeah.
It's just building the eye and just having that experience.
Right. So
to be able to, and that directly translates to being able to create good content too, because when you're watching all these sick videos or movies from all these very talented people, and you just build your eye for that, and then when you go to shoot your own thing, it's probably going to be in line with that and kind of move towards that quality level.
Yeah, no, I definitely
very important.
Yeah, I truly do feel. Now this is, I don't know, you're pretty big in the industry. But I truly, you shook
That's
your
the
head.
thing, right?
And
like
you shook your head, but I wanted to say, like, I truly do believe you're the most underrated man in this industry. Your talent is so extraordinary that I wish, and they will, but I wish for more people to see it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I as much as I appreciate that, it definitely doesn't feel like it because in my everyday life, I just don't feel like I do enough. And for that reason, I'm not at a certain point that I think I should be at.
Of course.
And that can just be like a person being hard on themselves, and a lot of people can say, "Oh, you should be nice to yourself," blah blah blah. But I think once you kind of, I don't know, I kind of see that as a blessing because once I lose that, once I kind of get complacent, I'm like,
you won't have a reason to keep on like going
exactly, yeah. And
building it up.
Yeah, I try not to let things get to my head. The one time I did let things get to my head was when my dad told me I did a good job at something, and then I messed up, and then he took my door away, so I had no privacy in my room.
Oh my gosh.
So ever since then, the lesson learned was don't let shit get to your head.
Yeah.
So I try not to like, get things let to my head and just kind of let myself slack.
Yeah.
No,
as much as it
makes you
sucks.
different. That's what makes you different. Like you're never going to be complacent, and you're always going to be striving to reach that new level.
And that's something that I think everyone that is trying to reach a high level at what they're doing deals with every day. You're just like, shit, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
We did a podcast with Jesse James West on Don't Be Sour, and one thing that he said that I resonated with was that 99% of the time he feels failure. It's only 1% of the time that he feels like that success. I mean, he's at a very high level in his career right now, and still 99% of the time he feels failure.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us that are trying to, do good in our industry and reach a very high level feel that every single day.
Yeah. I feel like
that's
very
well
put. That's what keeps it going. And I feel like that is a good stopping point. All right.
I'd say so.
I think that a lot
last
of people
5 minutes was freaking crazy.
Yeah. No,
Episode
I feel like
2.
Yeah. If we would definitely love to have you back because
I live right next door.
Wait,
Hit me up.
tell him what Nabil said in the car. I want him to hear it from you.
Wait, which part?
The drunk cameraman pod.
Oh yeah, Nabil wants to do a podcast with me and him on the same episode at one point.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. If we had like two creatives in the room,
that'd be so cool.
That'd be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Drinking.
Dude, Nabil.
Nabil is the nicest person ever. Yeah. Just for those of you who don't know Nabil, nicest guy ever too.
Yeah. He's the reason why I started making workout edits. So.
Yeah, no, we would love to talk about Nabil's story because Nabil is one of the people that like really inspired me as well to like kind of go off on my own and do my own thing. And I've been following his journey since he got associated with Student Aesthetics, Marine, and we can go into that story another time.
Yeah.
We want to thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thank you,
you are one of our best friends, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Of course.
Just one thing to say. You're up next.
And we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Peace. Subscribe, like, comment if you guys have any questions or people that you want to see on the pod.
And tell us your opinion of Ozzy. Comment down below your opinion of Ozzy.
They're like, this guy sucks.
They won't do that.
All right. Peace, guys.
Peace. Yo, that was insane.
Woo!
Is that good?
Baby.
I think that went well.
I hope so.
I think that went really well.
How long was that?
That's fine.
Holy shit.
Dude,
I thought we were pushing 2.5 hours.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It felt long.
Dude, that's why I wanted to
we
stop.
gotta get a picture.
Oh, yeah.
We cannot miss this.
Can she get a picture with
Let me change the...
Holy shit.
That was good. I thought that was amazing.
Hell yeah.
That was amazing.
You like my questions?
I have one thing. Be careful when y'all are drinking.
Yeah, wait, I fucked out. I fucked out one time.
You would lean this way, but then
I went like
it
this.
would kind of